Hello everyone and welcome to SwitchUp. In today's video we're going to have a look at the games that got the highest score for the month. Last month I'm talking about the month of October on the channel, ranking them from the game that got the lowest score up until the game that got the highest. Now last month did include a half-term holiday for the children, and as both of us have kids that does make it harder to review games, so there were only 8 reviews last month, and there are some big games that you might see are missing. Persona 5 Royal for example and Alan Wake, they were done as performance reviews instead as they'd been out before elsewhere, so I'll put a link to those videos in the top pinned comment if you want to see how they turned out. And you also had Bayonetta 3 of course. Well, I'll be honest, because of half term we've not even looked at that one yet. That will be done soon and it will go into next month's score roundup video. So which game got the highest score for the month of October on SwitchUp? Well, let's find out. So kicking off then, in 8th place for the month we had Demon Throttle. This was an immensely enjoyable top-down shooter in the vein of something like Ikari Warriors or King's Knight that can be played in either single or local co-op. What's strange about this release though is that it's a physical only affair with no eShop release ever planned, and the physical version advertised as being exclusive to certain stores in some countries. Whilst this doesn't detract from the quality of the game, with only 4 levels and no chance of a digital sale ever, and limited chance for it to drop below RRP in shops that do sell it, it's hard to justify the price of around £27 to £30 that it's currently going for. The high difficulty and a secret chalice to find on each stage do add a lot of replayability, but this one really did get hit in the value section of the review due to its sale practice and would have scored higher otherwise. A very good game in its own right, but could only get a SwitchUp score of 72%. In 7th place for the month we had LEGO Bricktales. This puzzle adventure game developed by Clockstone harkened back to some of the older LEGO titles before Traveller's Tales began to create their licensed games, and uses a very interesting concept of having to navigate a number of dynamic worlds by solving environmental puzzles, and doing so by creating builds that let you pass a particular hazard. The game looked great with the scale of the dioramas being particularly impressive, but things were let down a tad by the controls which, whilst serviceable, were quite awkward a lot of the time, making it difficult to judge perspective. One for LEGO fans to wishlist at least though, it scored 76%. In 6th place was our most recent review, Factorio. This sees you needing to build up your very own industrial conglomerate from humble beginnings after crashing on an alien planet. There are a huge number of mechanics to learn and it can feel a bit daunting at first, but once it clicks it's extremely addictive, and the movement towards automation once you have things running smoothly is very satisfying. Being a port of a PC game and having been made with a mouse and keyboard in mind, the controls can be difficult to get to grips with initially and are the weakest aspect of the game, but they do become second nature after a while, and there's so much to do that it's easy to overlook this small gripe. It got a SwitchUp score of 77%. Coming in 5th place was Yomawari Lost in the Dark. This is the 3rd game in the Yomawari series, all being survival horror games played from an isometric perspective, with a cutesy aesthetic which is strongly juxtaposed against the creepy and macabre subject matter. You play as a young girl who is afflicted with a curse and must find her lost memories scattered about the town before 6 AM the following morning, otherwise the curse will become permanent. Gameplay wise you will need to enter certain areas, avoiding spirits and solving light puzzles in order to retrieve those memories, and whilst some of the mechanics do feel a little antiquated at times, there's enough fun here to counterbalance this, and if you enjoyed the previous games you'll love this new edition. It got a SwitchUp score of 78%. In 4th place was Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef. This is a much more tongue-in-cheek approach to the Warhammer 40k series, seeing you play as an orc in a classic run and gun format, and it comes from the team behind another run and gun in Guns, Gore and Cannoli, and yes, I did get my foods mixed up in the review and accidentally said cannelloni. The action is high octane with a good level of challenge and a level of humour which makes it a lot of fun to play. The biggest issue is currently performance with a fair number of stutters as you play through the levels, and for this reason it could really do with a patch. It's one of those where it will be down to the individual's tolerance for such things as to whether it ruins your enjoyment, but we didn't find that to be the case and it got a SwitchUp score of 80%. Moving into the top 3 and in third place was No Man's Sky. This action-adventure survival game of course released back in 2016 elsewhere, and it released to a fairly negative reception due to a number of stated mechanics not being included. Many years of updates have now produced a well-loved game which has finally been ported to the Nintendo Switch. There is a huge amount of content to get to grips with and updates improving things further still all the time, and all in it is an impressive port with pretty solid performance. There are a few bugs and the multiplayer mode is a no-show as of this moment in time. Check out the full review for the included features, and we also have an update video which will give details on a recent patch. All details and links are in the top pinned comment, and that goes for every game featured in this video. This got a SwitchUp score of 82%. In second place for October was a surprising one called Trifox. This 3D platformer has a few nice ideas up its sleeve, such as a class system which allows you to choose from 3 different types, with each playing differently, although you can unlock skills from each of these as you level up. The platforming puts up a challenge, the combat is a lot of fun, and there's a good amount of differentiation between the levels. All the more impressive is that it's a debut game from the development team, and despite some small performance issues and a couple of odd design choices, this is a fun little gem that's definitely worth playing. It scored 83%. And in first place for the month we had Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope, Ubisoft's sequel to their surprise 2017 hit Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle manages to further refine the formula, especially in terms of combat, which is a huge amount of fun, and it has a good pace in its early stages. There are a few dips in performance and the colour palette is perhaps not quite as aesthetically pleasing this time round, mostly due to the interplanetary theme and various settings, but it's a fantastic game nonetheless and a very impressive follow-up. It got a SwitchUp score of 91%. So there you have it, another month of Nintendo Switch reviews on SwitchUp. Did you buy any of these games? What did you think of them? Are there any games that we didn't review that you want to tell people about? Do stick it all in the comment section below. Don't forget those performance reviews for Alan Wake and Persona 5 if you want to know the story on those without a numbered score at the end. And also remember that if you are looking for eShop credit to pick any of these games up, or anything else for that matter, you can use our website switchup.gg. You can get your eShop cards from there, and doing so does help the channel out, which is much appreciated. There's also a link down there to Play Asia, same story, use the link, there's a code down there as well, use it and you can get 5% off of an order. A big thank you to our Patreons and our new channel members, very much appreciated. You help the channel to continue to grow, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.